to take them all the time there.
In August 2000, Rabbi Botea met the young cancer patient at Neverland. What did you make of what was going on then? What was his relationship with that boy?
Well, when we were there and the family was there, not only did it look respectable, it looked positively altruistic. You have to understand, this was a child who did have cancer, and the child was telling us how Michael had helped the family financially. It seemed not just respectable, but altruistic. He wasn't there alone. He was there with his parents. He was there with his brother and his sister. And his kids played with ours for a few days, and it all seemed fine.
What was important to me was his health. Can he survive? Now he's supposed to leave only 3 weeks. Now it's going about 4 or 5 weeks. He's still surviving. Can he survive more? Can he survive more? And prolong his life. And then after a year, I realized, my God, he's getting better. And it was wonderful to know that.
Michael Jackson and the boy became close friends. He traveled to Neverland on many occasions. On one of those visits, he met with Ahmad Elatab, another boy who had often stayed at Neverland with his younger brother, Omar.
He was cool when I met him. I hung out with him, stuff like that. He was just act like another kid. But he also didn't act his age. He knows how to talk. He knows how to act. He doesn't act his age at all. He acts like he's 17, 18, or older. But when he is alone with Michael, it's like when they're going out somewhere, shop or something like that. But he's never alone. But he lived at Neverland because they were really poor, and Michael helped them by let him live at Neverland.
In February last year, Martin Bashir's documentary Living with Michael Jackson was broadcast to 155 million people around the world. In the film, the singer openly spoke of sharing his bed with children, but insisted there was no sexual motive.
I have slept in the bed with many children. I sleep in the bed with all of them. When Macaulay Culkin were little, Kieran Culkin would sleep on this side, Macaulay Culkin's on this side, his sister's in there. We're all just jamming the bed. And we wake up like dawn and go in a hot air balloon. You know, we have the footage. I have all that footage.
But is that right, Michael?
It's very right. It's very loving. That's what the world needs now. More love. When you say bed, you're thinking sexual. They make that sexual. It's not sexual. But we're going to sleep. I tuck them in. I put a little music on, and a little story time at the book. It's very sweet. Put the fireplace on. We give them hot milk. You know, we have little cookies. It's very charming. Very sweet.
Sure.
It's what the whole world should do.
The day after that Martin Bashir documentary, I was on TV for the first time in a long time saying, this is disgusting, and Michael must stop it immediately. So everyone has to understand that there are rules to every relationship. And Michael says it's innocent. Look, if would a married woman let her husband share a bed with another woman, even if they're both clothed? She'd take a shotgun to him, and you know, rightly so. It's unacceptable to share your bed with someone. It's too intimate a practice. It's too intimate an experience. It's amazing that he doesn't get this.
There are just sort of guidelines and rules of society that are in place for specific reasons to protect children. And whether or not Michael Jackson is a child molester is really irrelevant to the fact that he shouldn't be on television talking about these things. He has created an environment for himself that is causing people to be very skeptical and cynical of him.
6 months later, rumors began to circulate a new police investigation. Michael Jackson's relationship with children was about to come under the spotlight once again. Coming up after the break, the latest from the California courtroom.
8:30 this morning, the Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Department and the Santa Barbara District Attorney marched in to Neverland with a search warrant. We now get up to 70 people. 70 now are inside the gates of Neverland.
On November the 18th, the officers raided Michael Jackson's Neverland Ranch. For the second time in his life, he was facing serious questions about his relationship with a child.
I call from a source that I had since first allegations 10 years ago. And this source said to me bluntly, "We've got another case." And I said, is it strong? And this person said, oh yeah, this one is very strong and very compelling, and you just won't believe it. And the facts were laid out to me as this source knew them. It was another 12-year-old boy.
Following the raid, reporters were called to a hurried press conference.
A warrant for Mr. Jackson has been issued on multiple counts of child molestation. The bail amount on the warrant has been set at $3 million. At this point in time, Mr. Jackson's been given an opportunity to surrender himself to the custody of the Santa Barbara Sheriff's Department within a specified period of time. Mr. Jackson has also been directed to surrender his passport when he's taken into custody.
The next day, Michael Jackson flew home from a business trip to Las Vegas and into the custody of police. With an audience of millions watching at home, he was filmed climbing the steps of the sheriff's office wearing handcuffs. It was when he left minutes later that the most enduring image of the case so far was released to the world. One of pop music's greatest icons had become a mugshot on a police record card. But Michael Jackson came out fighting, and so did his fans. When he returned to Las Vegas, they were there to cheer him on, mobbing his vehicle. In recent weeks, supporters have been invited to Neverland. As Michael Jackson prepares to face the charges of child abuse, teenage boys have continued to stay at the ranch. 17-year-old Ahmad Elatab visited over the Christmas holidays. He's stayed there many times over the past 4 years.
Everybody was there, all his family, his friends, supporters, stuff like that. They were all there, having fun. He came, he had fun, he watched the performances on stage that they had set up at Neverland, stuff like that.
Did he seem to be depressed about what was
never.
going on?
He was not depressed. He was not crying. He was, you know, he just was acting like none of this ever happened to him.
But what would you say to people to explain why he wants to hang out with teenage boys?
No, he doesn't just surround himself with teenage boys. And he doesn't. All the boys that are there, it's not just boys. It's boys, girls, and all other. Like, he has all genders, all ages. That's who he hangs out with. But he doesn't just hang out with kids, he hangs out with adults.
So as a mother, do you have any concerns about allowing Michael Jackson to spend time with your children?
No, never. I always will send them there anytime they want to go. I trust Michael Jackson. He's very close to children, yes, but he's close a different way, not the way the people understand about him. He likes to help children. And he's a very sweet person. If anybody know him very close, they will know how good he is.
But what about these latest allegations? Don't they worry you?
I was so upset. They treat him so bad. They didn't even treat Saddam Hussein the way they treat Michael Jackson.
Now, for the second time in 10 years, Michael Jackson is protesting his innocence. He spoke out in an interview on American television.